And we are back for the Loose Wheel episode podcast number 7. I'm Andrew, that's Ethan.
You definitely said that in the right order. Welcome back, everyone. And this week we didn't even record for 30 minutes before realizing that we weren't recording. Look at us.
We're going places, baby. That's brought to you by Toyota. No, it is not. But Toyota, if you want to sponsor us so we can go places together, that'd be awesome.
I don't think anyone wants to sponsor us right now.
Hopefully they will. Someone will eventually. So, getting into the reviews, there were no races this week. So moving on to the news. Andretti Global, whatever they want to call themselves now, settles on 3 entries for 2024, so there's a possible, that engine that was used for Andretti is now available for any Honda team, and the teams that have been rumored for it are Dale Coyne Racing, their 3rd car, which they haven't announced either of their 2 cars yet, so that's going to be interesting, and a Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan 4th car for a possible Yuri Vips sighting or other drivers. Those are the real implications from that. So, yeah, Chip Ganassi, they're set on 5. And then the only other Honda team is Meyer Shank, who's set on 2 with 1 open entry for the 500 for Elio Castroneves. So, yeah, I think this extra engine will be for Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan with a full-time or part-time car. I'm going to say that car is part-time for Yuri Vips. Ethan, do you have anything to weigh in there?
Why do you think it's going to be part-time?
Just something's telling me part-time. I don't know why. I've seen rumors for both full-time and part-time. I don't know how much of a budget they have there at RLL. They just...
I think if you're signing Yuri Vips, you're not signing him for a part-time role.
I mean, they've signed him already. They don't have a role for him yet, but I think it's going to be part-time. But yeah, it'll be curious to see how this develops. So it's unfortunate that Andretti's that 4 car. They're not a championship team anymore, I don't think. But they contend for wins on a weekly basis. It's unfortunate to see them scaled down to 3 cars, even though that 4th car was never a winning caliber car, to be honest.
Yeah.
Moving on, NASCAR's electric car body was leaked, which it just shows that NASCAR is serious with this. It's going to happen. I mean, I'm not against it. It's just that I don't know. I don't know yet. And I want to see if it's... this is wait and see how the manufacturers get behind it, how the racing is. It'll be interesting. Yeah, do you have anything to say about that, Ethan?
No, it's just, I think this is kind of the, whether you like it or not, electric is seemingly the future of road cars. So it makes sense that it's going to be prominent in racing. I mean, we already have series like Formula E, and the series name is blanking on me right now, but the
Extreme E.
Yeah, Extreme E.
That's now Extreme H, but yeah.
Yeah, we've seen electric series in the past. Um, Obviously, like even F1, they have hybrid engines now, hybrid powertrains. I don't think F1 will ever go fully electric, and I don't think NASCAR will ever go fully electric unless they're forced to one day. But for now, I think it's just they're going to have another series that's electric because that's the way the world's going, and it makes sense for them to do so.
Yeah, IndyCar's also going to hybrid motors next year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Is Extreme E being renamed Extreme H? Are they going hydrogen? Or
Yes, they are.
I did
saw
not know
that
that.
a couple months ago.
That missed me.
Yeah, I mean, if Extreme E were to come to the Arizona area, I'd probably go watch. I'd see what it's all about, but I don't. I wouldn't have any interest to watch Extreme E on TV.
Yeah,
Or,
I agree with that. Hydrogen. English. It's a hard language. Hydrogen is, I don't know. Like I just don't know about it as like a fuel option. I'm not sure. I'm in love with the idea of hydrogen cars.
Well, we're going to talk about hydrogen a little later in the show.
Yeah. Little sneak peek preview.
Staying with NASCAR, the Live Fast or whatever they are, Live Fast Racing's owner B.J. McLeod says charter sale was a response to NASCAR's rapid growth. When the charter system was introduced back in, I want to say 2016, charters were worth less than $1 million. That's what the first sold for, from the Michael Waltrip Racing, one going to Stuart Haas Racing and the other going to Joe Gibbs. But now, I believe McLeod's, that charter was worth around $40 million. So basically in not quite 8 years, we've seen that value skyrocket. And I remember just a few years ago how they were passing the 10 million marker, and I thought, that's crazy. But that shows that the charter system is working in terms of making money for the owners and getting 36 cars to show for every race. After that, it's not working because pretty much for every race only 36 cars are showing up, and the money for the owners that don't run the open cars, not the charter cars, is a fraction of what the charter cars are. That might need to be fixed, but other than that, I do like what the charter system has done for the sport. Do you have any thoughts on that, Ethan?
No, I'm not super familiar with the charter system, with all the inner workings of it, but I will say that I agree with what you're saying.
Moving back to alternative power, Le Mans delays its hydrogen-powered class to, I think it was 2026, I thought it was, or 2028. It was supposed to debut next year, but then they pushed it back to 25. Now they've pushed it back farther. There were, I think it was going to be like 6 cars for that series, or that class within the series at Le Mans for Le Mans only. So it wouldn't have been a huge class, but it would be interesting to. Well, it would have been interesting to see that. I still would like to see it. I would like to see how this goes for everything. I mean, if there is a point where the world bans gas guzzling cars as we know it, and we have to turn to electric or hydrogen, I mean, if the racing's still good, I don't mind it. But in the world's current state, I wouldn't want to see what we have change. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I don't think many people like change, really. And again, with the hydrogen powered cars, I'm not in love with the idea of it. I would much rather alternative fuels be looked into more. I mean, I'm not sure what the progress on it is, but Porsche was studying that, looking into that. They were saying that this fuel would be very safe for the environment. I'm not really sure how that project is coming along for them, but I wish we could see more of that in other manufacturers working on that instead of hydrogen cars. I mean, it's a cool idea in a sense, but everyone loves gas powered cars, and like it's a little bit selfish, but if we can make those um clean for the environment, I think that's a win-win for everyone. And I wish that that was an option that was explored more, because it seems to be possible, so why not go down that avenue?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know as much about cars as you do. I did happen to, for an AP Environmental Science project, I did happen to go down the road and look at hydrogen powered cars. And from my research, I know Toyota's looking into that. I would like, I mean, I, I think it has better benefits than electric. So yeah, that's my opinion. I'm not the guy to ask, but that's just from what I saw. I don't the little I saw. I think it would be. I think it might be. I don't know. I'm not the expert here, but yeah, it's an interesting idea. I mean, it's it might happen eventually. I don't I don't know if it will happen in our lifetime.
uh, I think if it happens, it will happen in our lifetime. The decision's already kind of being made. Electric is going to be the future, or at least a big part of the future. So I think that um, the turning point of what we're going to decide is going to be in our lifetime. But that's why I want these manufacturers and bodies to look into other options. And I realize that I'm kind of being a little hypocritical here, because hydrogen is one of those other options. But yeah, I guess just look at as many options as possible.
Yeah.
Don't not look at hydrogen, but invest in clean fuels as well. That's what I want to see.
Maybe solar powered cars.
That would be
I don't know.
something.
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I'm not.
For me, it's like it's selfish. I understand, but the engines, it's just it comes down to that, really.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with hybrid. I think hybrid technology is really interesting, and I think it's a nice mix of both worlds.
Yeah.
So for now, that works. But as we try to be a more I am having
Conscientious.
yeah.
It is hard.
Yeah, I'm having some trouble speaking today. As we become a society and a planet that is trying to preserve our environment, we're going to need something more than what hybrid technology is offering us in terms of cleanliness.
Yeah. Bottom line for both of us is, I think we just don't want to see one thing completely take over cars and racing, or whether that be anything. I think variety is a spice of life. And that being said, we're gonna change to a different motorsport. Formula One. The FIA appoints an F1 commissioner to help lead improvements. I saw it was a former journalist, so I think that's someone neutral, and that they understand what the drivers want. They understand what the fans want. They understand what the teams want, and they want understand what the manufacturers want in terms of car suppliers, engine suppliers, other stuff that goes on cars that I don't know. I'm not a car expert, but yeah. Just it's always nice to have another person just to help lead the ship
Uh-huh.
because F1's growing as we know it, especially in the states here. So yeah, that's what I think of it.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to hear other opinions and to have another voice when it comes to the future direction of F1. Um, a little bit more about Dieter Renken, I believe that's how you say his name, who is going to be the F1 commissioner. He was an advisor to the FIA president, Mohammed Ben Solayem. That was a total butcher, but
Yeah.
he was an advisor to the FIA president for a while, and now he's taking over this job. I think it also shows the FIA's commitment to Formula One. Obviously, Formula One is like the peak of the FIA's tree, and the FIA is very invested in Formula One already and invested in Formula One's future as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Especially how the FIA sees motorsport as a whole. They see it as their baby. F1 is the best motorsport, which it is the most popular. But I don't think it. I'm gonna say it, F1 is not the best motorsport. It's a controversial opinion that we might talk on a later show.
It's opinions, you know.
Yeah,
You're allowed to have an opinion.
There's and and then it's such a huge topic of there's so many different things within each series that you say, oh, this part's better about this sport, and there's this part's better about this sport, and then so on and so forth. So yeah,
Yeah, they're hard to compare. Like, how can you even compare Formula One and NASCAR, or NASCAR and Rallycross, and so on and so forth? There's so many different styles, and that's kind of the beauty of it. Like you said earlier, Andrew, variety is the spice of life.
Moving on to a specific American team, Haas is splitting their car specifications between the drivers in Las Vegas. That's because Kevin Magnussen likes the current spec and Nico Hulkenberg preferred the old spec. Not much to say about this. You do what you got to do to get as many points as possible, finish as well as possible. Try to, I don't know where they stand in constructors. Try to jump a constructor, get a little bit more money.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I think all that really can be said about this is Haas constantly and continuously fails on delivering effective driver upgrades to the cars that both drivers like. This was a team that at some points in their relatively short history have looked like the best of the rest, and for the past few years they've just been absolutely nowhere, and there's no signs that they're gonna break out. But that discussion has been beaten to death, so we won't spend too much time on that.
I mean, I think we all know what Magnussen is. If they were to get the next Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen to go alongside Nico Hulkenberg, who I think is just a better version of Magnussen in terms of how they're both kind of consistent drivers. That
I
You know,
disagree with
it
that.
we know who Magnussen and
Yeah,
they're gonna
but
finish like they're gonna get a lot out of the car relatively speaking. I just
Hulken
think Hulkenberg gets a little bit more out of his cars right now.
Hulkenberg is, I would say Magnussen is higher upside,
Mm-hmm.
but much less consistent than Hulkenberg. That's how
Yeah,
I view them.
that's fair.
Um, and like you said, they don't have that driver waiting in the wings.
Mm-hmm.
Sauber has Teo Porcher. In I mean, Alpine had Oscar Piastri. We know how that
Yeah,
worked
they
out.
currently have Jack Doohan.
Yeah,
Mercedes has Vesti.
yeah,
You can go on and on.
but really, like you look at those top drivers in the youth formulas. Haas doesn't have a a driver lined up to take a role in their team later down the road. I mean, I honestly don't even know if they have a driver academy in the first place. I don't think they
don't.
do. Yeah. There's nothing there for the future of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
But that's just the spot that the team is in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder if they would be interested in someone in IndyCar, maybe like Callum Ilott, who looked poised um, for who looked like he was gonna get a F1 drive, but well, I mean, I guess he never looked like he was gonna get an F1 drive.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like he should have gotten an F1 drive. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if they would ever be interested in someone like him, but I don't. I think that that door is closed.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Yeah, we'll see how that wooden ship goes.
Yeah.
Moving on to a different potential American team, GM registers as F1 power unit manufacturer for 2028 onwards, which this shows that Andretti Global GM team,
they're serious.
They're serious. They want to play, and they mean it.
And this could also be a deal where General Motors could sell their power unit to teams that don't make their own power units. So if for some reason a deal doesn't, or if a deal falls apart, say between Mercedes and Aston Martin, maybe we could see Aston Martin General Motors. Who knows?
That would be weird.
It would be weird, but I mean, we've seen weird things before.
Yeah.
McLaren GM.
McLaren, pretty much any power unit manufacturer.
Yeah, has already happened, it seems like. Yeah.
Moving on to the previews. Las Vegas on the Strip, F1.
Weird.
Yeah, this is very curious race. For F1, and here's my interesting opinion on it. Is F1 goes to Vegas, the city with great nightlife, as we all know, and has a night race, and decides to put the race at not a great time.
Well, they're doing it for the European audience.
Yeah, they're doing it for the European audience. They're putting
Even though it's in Las Vegas.
Yes, at 11 p.m. race start. If you're in Vegas,
11 p.m.
11 p.m.
Phoenix time.
Well, it's I think 11 p.m. their time too.
No, it would be 10 for them.
It's 10.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 10 for them. A 10 o'clock race. At that point in Vegas, you've already begun your festivities at 10 p.m. And if you're doing this, you're putting a race in Vegas. Why? If you're not gonna put it at a reasonable hour, relatively speaking, I don't I don't see why you put it there.
Well,
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
maybe they're thinking nothing in Vegas happens at a reasonable hour.
I
I
mean,
mean, 10 p.m. Vegas, the night's just getting started.
I think well, as a whole, I think festivities already begin around 8, 9. I mean, I think 8, 9 would be the right start time.
Yeah.
I think.
Really, though, this is just for the European audience.
Yeah, which I think it is. I mean, you're putting a race in America to appease the American audience. Have it at a time that American audience would
Yeah.
want it. I
Because
mean,
if you're on the East Coast, unless you're a diehard F1 fan, like if you're just a casual F1 fan,
mm-hmm.
you're not going to be staying up till 1 a.m. or whatever to watch an F1 race that you don't care too much about.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of racing in Vegas is to get Americans to care about F1. I mean, the only saving grace is that it's on a Saturday night, so
yeah,
there's that. But yeah, just weird.
yeah. I mean, if it were at, I don't know, a couple hours earlier, I would be watching. I'm not a huge F1 guy. I would watch this race if it was at 8, 9.
Yeah, 11's not late.
Well, I try to go to bed at 11.
Okay, I'm gonna be watching.
I know you're gonna be
so
watching.
So I will have.
You're the diehard F1 fan here. I'm not.
Yeah, but I also have just like the worst sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Known to man.
There's probably something worse out there.
We'll see. Yeah, but it's talking more about the track specifically. It does not look great. I've seen some things on Instagram.
Yeah.
It looks like an upside down pig. That really is what it looks like.
Yeah.
There's some really boring looking corners, a huge straight, and
the pit road exit. That's interesting. That hairpin turn.
It's like how are you gonna make a track built around the Las Vegas Strip? I understand it's hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a street circuit, so we'll I'll go into it with a somewhat open mind. I think that there is a chance that it could be an interesting race, but not because of, great battles or anything. Probably more because it's going to be one of the colder races on the F1 calendar this year, and the tires are not built for this cold that the drivers and cars and tires will be experiencing. And it's not like it's going to be freezing or anything, but it is going to be suboptimal conditions for the cars and for the tires. And those tires will not be able to generate enough heat to have amazing grip, most likely. So we might see some spins, we might see some wrecks, and hopefully everyone makes it out of the race okay. That is really the only way I can see this race being anything other than a snooze fest, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of the races of all time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
If we,
That being said, shall we transition into the picks?
Let's do it. You want to go first, Andrew?
No, you're going first. I'm down 53 to Ethan 67.
Okay.
If we go different on one pick, and Ethan gets that right, gets it 100% right, he wins
Okay.
the season. Or if we go different on both, and Ethan gets has his driver finishes higher than mine, gets the 1 point, he wins. So both of those two things need to happen, or one of those two things need to happen. So that being said, Ethan, who you taking for first place?
You know, I will be very nice. I will give you a chance. You have the opportunity to pass me. Not
today.
Not today, but I'm giving you an opportunity. I'm not opening the door for you, but I'm slightly cracking it.
Yeah.
Max Verstappen is not my pick to win.
Really?
Yeah. And now I need to think of who is going to be my pick.
I was not prepared for that.
Let's go Lando Norris.
Lando Norris. Okay.
I like the guy, first off, and he's had a great season, and he deserves a win.
Yeah.
Fight me in the comments if you disagree. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube.
If you're going to give me the layup, I will take the layup in Max Verstappen. For second place, who are you going to take?
Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen DNFs in my prediction.
Okay. I didn't love the pace of the Mercedes last race. Aston Martin kind of showed, but I think it's the obvious second choice pick right now. Lando Norris for second place. So maybe after this week, I am closer to you.
So if Lando finishes second, do we both get a point?
If Lando finishes second, I get the 5 points because you predicted him to win.
Okay. Well, I think that this time next week we might be looking at a 63-67 lead for me instead of the 53-67 that it is right now.
I might have screwed that math up earlier. I think I did, but I don't know. I'm not gonna double check myself. It's fine, I think. So we could just end this episode short, but as I kind of hinted earlier, we're gonna talk about something that I think needs to be talked about. It's been talked about a lot recently. That is track limits in F1. I'll
let you go on your rant and then I'll respond.
This is all right. This all starts with F1's categorization rating, because you have to have a certain amount of runoff to be a grade 1 track, which is okay, fine. I mean, I disagree with that, but
it's for safety.
I think Road America's one of its knocks of it not being a grade 1 track is it doesn't have runoff. I think it's great. I don't think they should change it. I'd like to see an F1 race there at the point it is now in terms of runoff. But which I mean, it is a point which I will. That's not why we're here to talk about this today. I mean, so if you're gonna pave that space, like I'm thinking about the last turner in Circuit of the Americas, or the first corner actually. I mean, there's a lot of corners. I'm trying to pull an image up here. I mean, in Circuit of the Americas where there's runoff. And like turn 1 and the final 2 corners. Let's talk about those. And F1 should allow people to race on the pavement. The pavement is for racing. That's my opinion. But there's some corners, like if you were to go to the inside of turn 1, you shouldn't be cutting the course. But if you go outside, I don't have an issue with that. I think if you're going to pave that spot, have it be there so the drivers can use it and take the best racing line. If you're going to have that spot paved, you're taking away from the driver's ability to maybe make more passing zones, maybe do something different. And so instead, but if you want to keep drivers to the racing track, I think put something that enforces that, like grass or gravel, things that are supposed to penalize drivers. I don't think I think to get the best racing possible, there shouldn't be these judgment. There should be fewer of these judgment calls. A quick way to eliminate those judgment calls in F1 is by getting rid of those track limits. That's my argument there.
You ready for my opinion?
Go ahead.
All right. I think there does need to be some sort of track limits. You can't have drivers going crazy off the pavement like what you're talking about. That doesn't make sense. That's not how it should be. I think that maybe things are a little too strict now with the stopping at the white line around the track. I think that you should be able to use the curbs to your advantage to play that game. But going completely off the track to gain an advantage, that doesn't make sense. You're not racing on the track anymore at that point. That's not racing. You got to stick to the racing circuit to race. And I view the curbs as part of the circuit, and that's why I think that you should be able to drive on the curbs. I don't think that how track limits is defined now is a perfect solution, but it's the best solution. Maybe it's not even the best solution we got, because in my opinion, you should be able to use the curbs. But we need track limits to enforce something, to enforce that you can't go off the track and gain an advantage. And I understand the thing about, like, well, you can't, as long as one of your tires is on, like, the track or something, it's fine. I don't know. I don't have, like, crazy strong opinions on this, besides that I don't think you should be able to go outside onto another source of pavement that's not the actual track. And Andrew, what you said about, like, putting in gravel or grass or something instead, I like that idea. I wish that it was like that. But I mean, just because the pavement is there doesn't mean that you should be able to use it.
Yeah, that's where a difference of opinion comes in. As I've got code of turn 1 pulled up here, the sharp turn. If you're cutting the inside of the track, yeah, that should be penalized. That's corner cutting.
Yeah.
But this all stuff here, that's part of the racing surface. This big red area. I think it's part of the racing surface. Drivers should be able to use that how they want. If you don't want to go out there, that's cool. If you want to go out there, that's cool. I look at what the NASCAR races have been there. They've been awesome because drivers can go out there, and that's how. I mean, that corner's been one of the action spots. As that's.
I don't think that would really even impact F1 races much, anyways. But I don't think that you should be able to go crazy off the track. Like, there's obviously no curbs on the outside there. It's just that giant logo.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the white line that's the barrier. In a place like that, I think the white line should be the barrier. I don't think that the rules should be, oh, if you have any part of your tire um, over the white line, you should get penalized. I think as long as you have something on the actual what is designated as the track, you're fine. But I I don't know. I don't feel like you should be able to put your car off the circuit.
I still think that's part of the circuit. I think, well, when IndyCar raced here that one year, that was part of the circuit. They let the drivers go there, which I mean, I didn't watch that race, but when I see uh, videos of that race, I'm like, that's cool. That's something they're using their brain. I mean,
I think there's got to be some sort of regulation on it, and the way it is right now is imperfect, but it's it's definitely not perfect because you have drivers qualifying lap times ruined for
yeah,
going just a little bit over the white line, which is why I think that you should be able to, go over it a little bit. But if your entire car is over it, that's not the spirit of the track. That's not the way that the track was designed to be raced. You could like make the corners wider, and that's actually the track, but to just ignore the track itself is interesting, I'll say.
I mean, I think it's part of the track. I'm looking at Austria Turn 1 right now, and the final two corners at Austria. I think it would be awesome if you could run as wide as you wanted. That would fit, the drivers would have a hard time figuring out, should I be running wider or should I not be? How much, where is the line where I'm gaining speed, losing speed? I think it would make the F1 races more interesting what they've got now, because you've got drivers making different decisions, and drivers are, when we know, let's say Max Verstappen has a hard time figuring out what the right line is, and say someone else figures it out, Max Verstappen could be getting beat by a lot. That's not something you see in F1 these days often.
I mean, I don't think it would change anything because you would have a practice session, an entire practice session. You don't think Max Verstappen is going to be able to figure out in a practice session? He would. And again, that's not the way the track was designed. If they want to make modifications to the track, whatever, but that's not the track. It's just not.
It is. I mean, if you can put tires on it and go fast, that's part of the track. If you look at, I don't know what corner these two are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it should be.
I agree with that. There's gravel there that stops
gravel
you.
there that stops you.
I don't think just because the surface isn't gravel
or grass or whatever.
Yeah, just because it's not a surface designed to slow you down doesn't mean it's not the track.
I mean, if you're gonna put, that's why I disagree. If you're gonna put pavement there, racers are gonna try to figure out what the best line is around the pavement.
And even in that corner, there's I don't know. There's curbs there that make they're supposed to make you not run wide because no on the final turn.
Yeah.
There's curbs there on the outside of the corner to stop you from running wide because you're not supposed to run wide.
Well, that's, I mean, if you're gonna have penalties, yeah, I would put curbs there too. But if you're not going, in my opinion, you shouldn't have penalties, and the curb shouldn't be there as well. Or if you want to really go crazy with it, have the curbs there and see whether or not what's faster, going over the curbs, going not over the curbs.
Going over the curbs would destroy the car after enough time, so it definitely wouldn't be that.
You look at it's now the Le Mans chicane on the Daytona road course, okay? And that's can't can't type and talk at the same time here, but that's a part where if you run over the curbs enough times, it will destroy your race car here in the Le Mans
Yeah.
chicane. Like if you run over these curves enough times, that's going to destroy your race car, but you should still be able to run over them. I mean, so that's something that you figure out is that should the risk reward be worth it to tear your car up or not, whether or not that risk to gain the speed and how many times you can deal with that.
It's again, I think it leads back to safety in a way. I mean, I don't know if this is true, but it makes sense to me. They have that wide runoff in case you run off of you lose control in that corner, your car takes itself out onto that runoff in Austria.
Mm-hmm.
If you're running wide and then you lose control, you're so close to the wall, you don't have any room to brake or anything like that. That's not a good scene.
That's fair, and my counter to that is if you don't want to have that happen, just put grass there. Put gravel there.
Sure, I'm in agreement with you on that. I mean, I agree with that 110%.
If you're going to have racing surface there, make it available to race.
It's not a racing surface though.
I think it is. Because I mean, if you're going to put pavement is a racing surface. I that's my opinion. And this is where we disagree here because I didn't know.
Is that even pavement though?
Like, I mean, I think it's a paved surface. I mean, it's slippery. It's got paint on it. I think we do know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue that this is. I mean, this is what you thought of it.
I mean, I don't have a crazy strong opinion. Like I said, if they make the turns wider and still have sufficient runoff, I'm cool with that. But I don't think you can allow this entire section to be seen as racing. A wider turn might be interesting. I would be fine if F1 toyed with that idea, but it's just it can't work for Formula One. I think F1's biggest concern is the safety.
Well,
I don't think track limits are perfect. Maybe they'll never be perfect. Maybe they'll figure them out one day. But there needs to be some sort of end of the track. And I think if you ask F1 what the chief priority, why they have it like that, is it would lead back to safety, and I don't think they would negotiate on safety.
The thing is, if right now you can't have that at a racing surface, it's unsafe. But if you put something natural like the sandbox, or I'm referring to gravel when I say sandbox, or grass that slows the car down, like in the other corners on the track.
Yeah.
And then you can have a little bit of racing surface that's over the curb. That's what I would like to see. Going back. That's not a good example of what we're talking about here. If we go back to Circuit of the Americas Turn 1, let me pull this up here because we're going to Austin. Where's Austin? There's Austin.
It's outside of Austin.
Somewhere around here. I think it's on the west side. No, it's on the southeast side. What do I know? All right, if we go back to Turn 1 here. This, I mean, you have the way this is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Add a little bit more gravel, and then, well, this is for F1. For NASCAR and IndyCar, it's great where it is. You add a little bit more gravel, like double or triple what they have now on from when it cuts in.
Right.
I think this space should be raceable. The paved stuff over there.
Maybe.
That's what I think.
Maybe.
That's what frustrates me is you have.
But then just paint it the color of the track. Have it actual racing. Have it as an actual obvious racing surface. Get rid of those curbs there.
Yeah.
And make the turn wider. But have it like an actual obvious part of the track.
Yeah.
Because you can see obviously this isn't designed to be part of the track. It could be, but the track has a clear end because even though there isn't like crazy curbing there, there's still a line of the track ending.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, like, it's the thing is, runoff is, I think what we can conclude from this, because I think we both understand where we're going at here.
Yeah.
We both conclude for this is runoff is not good, and if you have
correct,
they should. I mean, I'm fine with this being the way it is, in terms of what they have here, but I think it might be better, if you do make it the track.
And I don't even think our opinions are that much contrasting.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, how does the FIA go about it? Because sure, wider turns, whatever, that would be interesting to see in my opinion, but do it the right way then.
Yeah,
commit to it. Don't be doing things halfway.
Yeah. So what we can conclude from this is runoff. It should be grass, gravel, enough for the car to stop, and possible extensions of turns. Because I think it would be interesting if you run wide in a corner, lose control because you're out in the marbles, you slip into the grass, and now you've got grass on your tire.
Sure.
I mean, that's what we can conclude. I mean, I would like to see it happen. I don't think it would ever happen.
Yeah. If you are listening on YouTube, let us know in the comments if you have any opinions on this subject.
Because it's a if you go to just about, well, NASCAR, there's got its own track limits with the double yellow line, which is maybe we might talk about that on a later episode. But IndyCar has it to a less extent. NASCAR and road courses has it to a less extent. Yeah, it's a very touchy subject that divides. I mean, that makes people have a lot of different opinions on it. I think in NASCAR and IndyCar, they've got it pretty good. But F1, I think we're both in agreement that it needs some work.
It does need work. It's definitely not.
I think
definitely not perfect.
I would think most fans would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that is a pretty safe statement.
Yeah. If you made it this far,
you get a sticker.
I didn't say that, he did. So he owes however many people listen this far a sticker. Made it this far, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, and I would assume from the bottom of Ethan's heart.
No, I'm joking.
It means a lot to us that you would listen to two college students ramble about motorsports.
Yeah, seriously.
An hour a week.
If you are here, thank you.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
Shoot us a comment. Give us something we could debate about in the future. But we've got some special stuff coming up next couple weeks. Next week we have the review of Las Vegas, previewing Abu Dhabi. Week after that we have the preview of Abu Dhabi. We got some special stuff on those next 2 episodes. And then 3 episodes from now is the season finale. You are going to want to tune in because it's going to be special. That's all I'm going to say.
We're not going to tell them what it is?
Give them something to look forward to. It's going to be special. It's going to be funny. You're going to like it.
All right.
That being said, this is the end of episode 7. 7 episodes. Lucky number 7. We made it this far. And thank you for listening. Do you have anything else you want to say, Ethan?
No, just thank you again and goodbye.
Goodbye.